done. What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a brand new episode of Cosplay Chris, and today marks episode 3 in the Butcher of Blaviken. This is my Geralt / Witcher cosplay build, and today we are going to be focusing on finishing off the torso armor. We have already smashed out the shoulder armor, the bicep armor, and the gauntlets, but today is revolving around the biggest piece, which is the torso and the back armor. Now, the basis for the templates for the torso armor, if you guys recognize this, is actually going to be my version 1 / version 2 Pirate Batman armor. And this is the end result. This is the main torso piece that I'm going to be using as a template. We'll then be tracing it onto EVA foam. Now, a massive shout out to the awesome crew over at Lumen's Workshop. They provided the EVA foam for this torso build. It is absolutely stellar quality stuff. Can't recommend them enough, and it comes in big sheet size quantities too. Now, I've already gone ahead, drawn up, cut out, stuck together a temporary prototype piece. So with that being said, let's get to it. Okay, so this right here is the foam prototype torso. This piece right here is essentially a way for me to get an idea of the shape and the templates and how it's all gonna look compared to the rest of the armor from the previous episode. So the EVA foam in question that we're gonna be using is of course from the amazing crew at Lumen's Workshop. It is the 6mm Formlight EVA foam. So I've cut off the little sticker that is on the foam, and these sheets are massive, and this is why I went with Lumens, because usually in terms of EVA foam, whether it be the shoulder pads, the bicep pads, the gauntlets, it's these tiny little yoga mat foam pieces that you get from Bunnings Warehouse, but in the case of Lumens, these things are massive. These sheets are perfect. It's a great way to put all your templates on one piece, especially for something as big as a torso armor. So I've got this bad boy on a Lazy Susan, and again, this is a prototype. We have to break this piece back down because these are gonna act as our templates to trace onto that piece of foam that I showed you just then. So it's pinned in place here, and as you can see, I've done a test here on how to do the grooves on this particular piece of foam. So if we de-pin it, you can see how it's going to work. So this back flap will come down, and then we're going to have a Velcro system at the back here, but we're also going to have the illusion of leather cord tying it together, but obviously we can't do that each and every time because there are going to be times where I need to suit myself up, and just having Velcro like that as a closure at the back is just so much more easier and a lot more productive. So overall, I'm extremely happy with the shapes, the shaping, the contours. I've done a test on myself. So what we're gonna do is break this piece back down. It's just been crudely glued together. So I'm gonna cut it at all the seams where it's been glued, lay them flat on this piece of EVA foam that I just showed you, and we're gonna trace them out, cut them out, and then we can get to work on the details, drawing out the grooves, the lines, where all the stitching is gonna be. Now here's a method I came up with yesterday, very spare of the moment, whilst this was drying, whilst the contact adhesive was curing, and it really helps with the grooves slash ribs of the armor. So obviously the first piece we glued down was the back piece, and I put it in this PVC pipe, and it really helps the vinyl slash pleather slash polyurethane, whatever you want to call it, contact adhere to the foam. And yes, it will come out like that, which is totally fine because we just will use some heat. We'll use a paint stripper gun and get it back to being flat. And then we can go in and do the bottom half of the torso armor and also the full front slash side part of the torso armor. And then we can finally get to work doing the stitching and the riveting and then put this bad boy together. Okay, now that I've let all the pieces properly dry overnight, I'm very happy with the end result. In terms of maintaining the grooves all over the armor, the contact adhesive is really bonding the two materials nicely together. So the next step is we're going to do the trim before we do any of the stitching, any of the rivet work. I just want to get the trim out of the way and stitched up so it all looks nice and uniform. So for that, we're going to be using, I guess you could say it's like a rubber seal, kind of rubber trim you can get from Bunnings Warehouse. You can see it folds out like that. You know, it goes around whatever you want to use. But instead of using it as a whole, because it is going to be quite fiddly to actually, you know, grip it on to the piece itself like so, it acts like a clamp essentially. I've gone ahead, as you can see right here, and cut one side off. So we've just got to glue it on one side and obviously cut and go as I please, just to make sure it all syncs up nicely and looks all nice, neat and uniform. Then once that's done, we're going to get the hole punch and punch holes throughout the whole 3 pieces and then do the mock leather stitching. It's done. Okay, that was the most labor-intensive thing I have ever done. This has been ridiculous, man. So, we have the front, the side, and the back part, and the other back part. This is the back flap that will go over the back here and Velcro under these end pieces like so. Now, if you guys notice, I've actually gone ahead and done some dummy strapping right here, just with some spare leather, some grommets slash eyelets that I had here, and this is Velcro. This is a Velcro closure, as you see right here. And if we close her up, that's how it looks. So again, this is purely for display purposes. It's just a dummy strapping system here, and it undoes like so. So it's quick, easy, cheap, and nasty. Now, if you guys are wondering why I didn't document every step of the way, it's because I'd essentially be repeating myself. If you want a more in-depth look of how this whole process goes, you can go to the previous episode of The Butcher of Blaviken and see how I did the shoulder armor and the bicep armor. The exact same method is applied for this piece and the back piece as well. I'm so relieved that this stage is over. It's been amazing, but at the same time, I do appreciate having feeling in my thumb just from putting those rivets in, man. Look, it's been amazing. It's been very rewarding, but at the same time, holy hell, doing this as a one-man army, it's crazy and stupid and just insane. So the next step is we're gonna put some Velcro on the undersides here and on the other parts of the shoulder straps of the back strap and the lower part of the back strap, and I will show you guys the entire process back to front. We have some self-adhered Velcro strips that I'm also going to back up with some super glue. Then we're going to take a paint stripper gun or a heat gun and start to heat form these pieces to a mannequin torso, just to get the curves, contours, and everything of the human body, just to give that slight V shape and the slight chest shape, and also curve the shoulder pieces here. Then once that's done, we are done. Oh, and also, if you guys did notice, I super glued the lower piece here, the lower strap, to the actual main torso piece here. So from my last count, it's nearly been 1,000 rivets over, you know, this piece, the back piece, the shoulder, bicep armor, the gauntlets. It's nearly been 100 meters of this leather cord as well. Absolute insanity, man. Okay, so we've got the two pieces Velcro together here on the shoulders. So in terms of heat forming these pieces, it's very touch and go. You have to do little bits at a time. So firstly, I'm going to start on the shoulders, make sure they're molded nicely, and especially the chest piece here, just to make sure when it's resting on my actual chest, that it's not actually going to belt out like so. So we're just going to be using a simple heat gun slash paint stripper gun from Bunnings Warehouse. Does the trick, and it's going to work wonders in terms of forming this. So after that, I'm going to work my way around the front and then contour around the sides and then strap it up around the back. This has taken so long and I'm so happy we're here. Now, if you guys are following this method, you might want to glove up, because when you're heating these pieces up, the rivets get extremely hot. And there you have it, guys. We are done and dusted for the Geralt armor for this cosplay build. I am absolutely and utterly stoked and over the moon with the end result. It was definitely worth the blood, sweat, and fortunately, no tears. There are still some things that I'm gonna go back in and just tidy up and also just rectify some issues that's bothering me about the lace-up system I've got here, the dummy lace-up system, but it's nothing really major, and keeping in mind that it is also gonna be covered by a sword for the most part and a lot of long hair. So with episode 3 done and dusted, episode 4 is gonna be about the boots tutorial, how we're gonna take some ordinary, cheap, nasty looking superhero boots and convert them into some lovely, weathered looking medieval Geralt boots. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. It's been a wild ride in terms of getting this thing done, but we got there in the end. Now I've actually got the Batmobile behind me in pieces, so I have filmed the intro to this piece and I am gonna finally put some primer on it hopefully today. Hopefully have that video up next week. Guys, wherever you're on the world, have yourselves an absolute cracker of a day. I hope you're well, hope you're happy, be merry, be silly, and until next time, geeks, please always remember, cosplayers do it best. I need a beer.